to the Futureprint Virtual Summit. I have with me today Carsten Brinkmeyer from Hymmen, who has been instrumental in the development of some really interesting inkjet technology within the manufacturing world, and specifically flooring. We're going to talk a little today about the decentralization of manufacturing and how inkjet can enable that, and particularly obviously with Hymmen's work within this field. So Carsten, before we kind of go into sort of looking at some of the slides and some of the explanations, tell us a little bit about you and your background, where Hymmen is, and so on.
Yes. Thank you, Marcus. Thanks for having the chance to have this session with you. Yeah, my name is Carsten Brinkmeyer. I'm working for the company Hymmen. Hymmen is over 125 years old company based in Bielefeld, Germany. We are building machines for surface finishing, majorly in the wood-based market. So what we build is presses, melamine double belt presses, lacquering lines, lamination lines, and since 2007 we are building digital printing machines. Everything we do is single pass printing machines, and we build the machines up to 2.20 meters width, which is the typical, the biggest size in that market for wooden boards in the flooring and furniture market.
And just so, because obviously the event covers the whole thing. This is not to be confused with some of the temporary floors that you get with some of the wide format kind of applications, is it? This is kind of proper industrial level manufacturing.
Yes. Everything we do is single pass printing. So you can imagine a single pass printer when the production is in a 2-meter width. A single pass printer is printing when he's printing on boards. For example, he's printing 8 motherboards, which are 2 meter by 2.80 meters, 8 to 9 boards a minute. Such a line is printing 50,000 square meters a day. So huge volumes, industrial application. So everything you find at the end in the DIY or with your installer, that's the target for Hymmen machines, built on Hymmen machines in the traditional way or in the digital way.
Yeah, and it's in terms of the marketplaces, I guess one is very different to another, and the processes are quite different, albeit it is inkjet. Something that you've been instrumental within Hymmen in developing and introducing has been inkjet. How has that changed since you first started working with inkjet? Has it become more popular, or is it used more often, or has the technology changed?
Oh, the technology changed. Changed a lot since 2007. It was quite early, and I think in 2007, no one really could imagine to have a 2-meter wide single pass printer. I'm involved in digital printing since 1999, and the technology, the print head technology, the ink technology is increasing. But the demand for digital printing was already seen in 2000, 2007, 2008. It is a quite conservative group of where we play our game in. But it's becoming more and more popular. I think flooring is... it's just jumped over the boundary of early adopters into beginning to starting the point where we go to real industrialization, and the technology is not the point anymore in my eyes. So it's I remember times in the demo center when in 2010, when we come to customer trials, we were scared about, can we show them good print result? Is the print result enough? Is everything working? Is everything fine? Nowadays, when we go with a customer demonstration, the printing itself is shown within half an hour or an hour, explaining the technology, showing the print, and showing the results. The most important thing is the complete process. What's coming below the print? What's coming on top of the print? How do I get a product out of that what we are printing? And yeah, that I think is one of the strengths of Hymmen, that we're involved in so many processes. We are involved in the process of making boards, or making the board white. So we are building the coating lines for making the board white. We are also making presses to press the melamine on top, or doing the coating finish on top. So the process know-how is a quite important thing, I think.
Yeah, so it's become it's a complicated. It's not something. It's not an industry you can decide. Well, I print posters now. I'd like to start playing in this field. Really, it's not going to happen, is it? From what you're saying, it's kind of two very different approaches and requirements. It requires that sort of, as you said, 120-year-old company, quite a conservative industry, and I would imagine in part because the barriers to starting in the market to do kind of production are quite high. Is that right?
Yes, it's a lot of technology involved to create a laminate flooring, for example.
Yes.
Yeah?
How is that market? So you mentioned that inkjet is starting to work in that, and obviously the theme of this is decentralization. It infers to me that actually the traditional way of doing things is more centralization. Is that right?
That is right. That is right. So the traditional way, I have some slides to maybe to share. So that the traditional process of melamine laminate flooring is what you see on this picture. So you have an wear layer, which is a melamine resin filled overlay. You have a typically analog printed paper in the moment, impregnated also with melamine. You have your fiberboard, and then you have a backside layer, which is also typically a melamine or a phenolic resin-filled paper. And from the process, how the producer, the manufacturer of the flooring, that later on delivers into the market, is doing is he's at the moment for the design, he's ordering printed paper at a paper printer, and then he's receiving the goods, he's putting it in stock, he's doing the impregnation, maybe only partial, because there's a huge minimum order quantity what you have to order. So you need to order at least a ton, because it's analog printed on large machines that can run 200 meters print speed a minute, and everyone can understand the printers don't want to run the machines only 5 minutes, or there's a setup time which is forcing them to have a minimum order quantity.
Yes.
And then it's going to the press, and this everything here is time delay. This one, everything is, and it's cost of stocking and everything. So the how that looks in on a map is that there are some production location, which is just an example of it's not really located in it's much more, but there are only a very few printing locations that feed all around Europe or all around the world, and this is so the red production sites are not printing themselves, which also means if they want to introduce a new design, they have to travel to the green printing locations, agree in a timing that they can do their sampling, then they are doing the color matching and everything, and then they go back, they are receiving after time they are receiving real produced sample paper, and then they go in production. Maybe something is good or bad. So the process of introducing new designs, it's it's quite long. Yeah. And digital printing would there help to shorten that, to reduce the delivery time, and also material costs, stock costs, and on all that. What is needed for that is typically the range of 5 to 18 million square meters per production site. Yeah, so that's what's a digital production for a flooring manufacturer. That's the demands. Yeah, and you could do that. Typically, you can do that with multipass printing, as we know that from signing graphics and all of that. But the output, I think. You Marcus, how much square meters can a multipass printer do? 80, which is quite fast then. So 80 square meters an hour will end up in maybe 500,000 square meters a year, when 6 million square meters is needed. So this is not the real way. There are some single pass applications in the market, some single pass printing machines in the market that are focusing on very, very high speed. 120, 140, 150 meters print speed. They are capable for 80 million square meters easily. But first of all, no one needs that 80 million square meters. And the invest of such a machine is very, very high. And we are easily talking about not only 2 digits a million, so 10 million euros plus. So Hymmen decided 3 years ago to team up with Ricoh and design and create and develop a single pass printer for that market that matches exactly that niche that is requested from the manufacturers. And this is the Saturn line. And with that line, we have a piece of equipment which is exactly matching the needs. So an impregnation line is running maybe 35 meters. So why should the printer run faster? So why should I print only from Monday mornings to Monday afternoon and to fulfill my production needs? That is the target, and that's the idea behind the Saturn. This machine is designed and built in the last year, the last months. This machine is now in place in our demo center, ready to show to customers. This is the new piece of equipment we have.
Yeah. And it enables people, I guess what you said, a conservative market. By that, I mean, is it more difficult then to convince conservative industry to take on new technology? Does this offer them a chance to try something that's a bit lower investment, but also are the economics really, really quite strong in terms of proving a case for adoption? Is that a key difference?
Yeah. Yes, that is economics. Is everything is related to economics. So no one will buy a machine when when it doesn't pay off after time. Yeah. And that is the first question we are faced every time is, what is the price of ink? Yeah. I heard years ago the good answer for that is it's the same as a good wine. Yeah. And it can be this, can be that. But at the end, the costs are not only the ink. It is really, the question is, what is the whole process improvement you have? The stock cost you reduce, the timings you're getting better in. It's also the obsolete material you don't need to throw away at the end of the year. You have to take all of that into account. So no cylinder manufacturing, no repair of design cylinders and everything. So this is all to take into account, and this is what Richard Darling and me, we have done that in a what we call white paper. And this is I'm happy to share that white paper with everyone who's interested. Just give me a request. We are able to fill in customer data into that, and do the calculation which is shown in that. Was real with the numbers of a production site. And this is a quite interesting thing that comes at the end to the point that it's same price or cheaper to print digital printing, print yourself, decentralized, and it is giving you additionally benefits of digital printing, larger designs. So, for example, this is one big point in the analog world. You are limited to the diameter of the roller. Yeah. So you have just one plank design, or you have a 1.60 m length design, and then it's repeating and repeating and repeating. In digital printing, you can run 5.60 m designs. So two big boards are of completely different data. So that when you have your flooring at the end in your room, you have no repeat of any patterns which are in the flooring. This new design options I think they are in the market already, because there are already digital printed floorings, but they are not that visible and not advertised as it could. When the end user gets that visible, that he can get something which looks like real wood. So when I go into a restaurant and there's a wooden flooring, and which I maybe like, then I'm looking. Oh, is it real or is it printed? Yeah, and the only way in many cases I can decide is, or the easiest way you can decide is, you seeing planks, copies of planks. Yeah. For me, it's a point of is it a good or is it a bad one? Yeah. I think when you have to create a market with the new possibilities.
Yes.
Digital printing can deliver.
Yeah, and it's a combination, by the sounds of it, of designers understanding the potential, having that kind of awareness to promote the benefits of digital, but equally also as important, the economic case for adding in digital. We've seen it in other markets where perhaps the transition to digital has been faster, but it could be that within some of the, within the market we're talking about now, that actually it's because the economic case hasn't been as strong enough before, and maybe some of the technical barriers have been too high. But now, from what you're saying, there's a nice sweet spot for Saturn to deliver a real role in production that doesn't exist with anybody else at the moment, with any other machine, really.
Yeah, and there are so many presses out in the market. So presses in real, not printing presses, presses for which press melamine films on top of wooden boards. So the Saturn is feeding that process. Yeah, so you can keep your existing process and just replace, when I may jump back on that screen, where we had that process chain. So you can skip all this here, yeah, by printing the paper yourself. Yeah, and you have no delay, no stock cost. You just white paper in stock, and then you go for printing.
So what it does is it changes the supply chain. So the printing technology gets put in a different part of that chain. Is that right? Or the digital printing, can it be used by other parts? You know what I mean? Could it be used by a company that never used to do printing before but now has?
Yes. So with the existing Hymmen lines, where we have which are typically for flooring direct to board printing lines, there we supply huge printing machines, huge big lines, to manufacturers of wooden material. So they were never involved in digital printing before, and we make them become a printer.
Yeah.
That is the thing. There are ways which are known by them, and the operation way how they produce the flooring at the moment is similar, but digital printing is also with direct to board printing giving a lot of benefit.
Yeah, and in decentralization, I mean, the economic value of being able to also respond to perhaps a different style in a different area. Has that happen where you have when you buy certain products in northern Germany, perhaps they're different in southern Italy, in terms of taste and design popularity and all of that? Is that?
Yes.
To that.
So when you look 20 years before, a flooring manufacturer maybe had 8 designs. Yeah, he had two oaks, a cherry, birch, and a maple, maybe, and then different styles of that, maybe. Nowadays, it's much more than I've shown here. So a big flooring manufacturer has 250, 300, maybe 1,000 designs to deliver, to his market. But this is also giving new opportunities. So when a DIY market wants to have his special own brand and its own design, which is not comparable with his competitor, you are able to deliver, and you're able to deliver directly in a short period. You can deliver to one DIY market flooring branded with whatever OB, and this design is not comparable with something on the market. It's easier to create new designs, and the design variety is growing and growing.
And with the so it's one question related, obviously, to the changing world we live in now. Has, in your view, the current sort of situation changed things or increased interest in digital, or what? I know that is Decor also at the moment. People looking to decorate their homes a bit more or less, or I don't know.
Yeah, from the what we hear from our customers is that during the very first days of the COVID situation, everyone was in shock, and it was stopped and it was reducing the volumes of sales. But I don't know if you know that in Germany the DIY markets were shops of interest or needed, so they stayed open, and many people, I think many people, and even I've done that, not spending the money for holidays, but spending for refurbishment or for repairing homes, and at the moment we hear quite good numbers from that market. Hopefully it's not just putting planned buying in an earlier phase, but it seems that it is interested. The manufacturers themselves are interested in. We see more and more interest to print their self to reduce stock and be more flexible. So they have seen during the lockdown situations that delivery routes and delivery times and delivery possibilities are different and can be, it's struggling. We see more and more companies looking for local production and moving production maybe back from Asia to Europe or US.
Yeah. And that's a trend that's probably seen in a few markets to be closer, which makes sense. And if someone wants to contact you, the best option really would be via email?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously your white paper that was written with Richard Darling, which is the economic advantages of inkjet, lays out the numbers very clearly, doesn't it, in terms of where inkjet is just wins in terms of its economic advantages. So that's possible by emailing you as well, is it, to get a copy of that?
Yes, you can. You can have a copy. We can offer a copy of that. My contact data on the screen, maybe.
Sure.
Yes, I'm happy to answer all the questions. I'm happy to send out the white paper. I'm happy to discuss with everyone about decentralized printing, either feeding the melamine world or printing direct to board. For SPC, which is not printing on paper, so printing on rigid plastic boards. There's a huge market in board printing, where Hymmen can supply their whole line, from feeding, stacking, coating, lamination, everything. Happy to talk to that people, and
brilliant. Thanks for that. It's very interesting, sort of talk through the changing world of decor and flooring production with inkjet. There are various options now, and obviously the economic value is clear and proven. And I mean, great. Best of luck with the Saturn, and thanks for joining us today, Carsten. And hope to see you in some of the networking sessions throughout the event.